Hey family, now I know it's been a minute since I stepped in over on here and showed y'all a tutorial on something, and I was actually asked to do this, and I told them I was going to do it a few days ago, but life is life. And anyway, we're not going to sit here and do all that huff and fluff. You know how we do. We get right down to it. Now, this is going to be a little bit longer video, about 40 minutes long, but bear with me because we're going to get there. We're going to make some lip balm purses today, okay? So when you buy the file, it's going to come with a file for Cricut and also a file for Silhouette. I'll jump in and show you a quick tutorial on Silhouette also in this video, but mainly focusing on Cricut. So right here, I'm showing you where you go buy the file, which is at andrinascreations.com. It's gonna cost you maybe about $3 or $4, something like that, but that's where you're gonna get the file from. Once you get your file, you're gonna unzip it how you do, you know how we do, and then we're gonna go and open up Design Space, jump on it right here, and we're gonna get into all the little things that we need to do. So now we got our file at Andrina's Creations. We unzipped it, we didn't uploaded it, we didn't do all this. Now we're about to go and upload it up into our, in here. We're gonna upload it, add it to our canvas. Now when it comes, it's gonna come in grouped like this. You see the different color patterns and everything because she's showing you, but it's gonna come grouped. So you're gonna have to ungroup it. And we're gonna have to remeasure these. Now, when you buy the file and if you're using it in Silhouette Studio, you're not going to have to do any of this. You're just going to have to ungroup it and just get to doing what you do. Now, here's the measurements. It comes with this photo, and we're going to let you know the measurements. Now, when I bought this a while ago, I recognized that on, I'm going to point to it soon, the little part right there, the measurement is a little bit off right there. It says 1.133, when in actuality, it should be 1.331. But other than that, everything else is fine. You're going to go in there, you're going to use that as your guideline. Now, something that I do when I go in there, well, of course, I'm going to group it first. But this is something, personal preference. You know how we get down. It's all about personal preference over here. Personal preference for me, because sometimes I'll be all over the place and it drives me up a wall. All of her files say Andrina's Creations, chapstick, whatever it says on there. I go in and I rename them, each piece. So when I first get the file, I'm gonna go and rename it, and I'm gonna do the measurement. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Double click right here on, I think the bow is the first thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on it, it's highlighted. You'll see me go over there. I'm gonna change it to the measurements that our instructions tell us to change it to. Just did the, on one side because it's locked, I just did the width, and you see the height automatically changed. So we don't really need to go in and do the height, but if you want to, because it's like one number, all like it's supposed to be 0 and it's a 1. If you care about that, you can go in there and do it, but if not, whatever. Then I go on, I double click over here, highlight it, and then I'll name it whatever I need to name it, bow. Boom. So there's my bow. So then when I'm going to look for something, I know that's my bow. Right here, I'm just going to be repetitive. This one right here, this one is our first layer. And this what I consider the first layer, because this is the layer that either we're going to make it, we're going to emboss it, we're going to use print out like a already pre-printed decorative sheet, or we're going to do print and cut. And I'll show you also in this video how we do a print and cut, how you can change it to a print and cut to be what you need to be. Child, I might need a sip of water because it's going to take some time to keep talking through this. Whew. And I got to talk the whole time, Jesus. But as you can see, again, I'm just measuring, changing the measurements, changing the name, and I'm going through and I'm just changing it to what I want it to be. First layer, second layer, what I'm going to do. And pretty much I'll repeat those steps as I go in. Y'all don't got to see me go through all that. I'm going to jump on over to the next part soon enough. But pretty much that's what you're going to see me do. Jump on over. All right. See, we can jump. Now we got all our parts labeled. We got it all together. Everybody all together. Now, this right here is very important. On here, you see those lines. Those are your score lines. Now, the way when she does her templates, they're really geared towards Silhouette users, but she does it as a courtesy for Cricut users as well, but she's more geared towards Silhouette. And on Silhouette, those are the score lines, and that's how their score lines go. So Over here, you can change it to a score line if you want to, or you can keep it like this. I would suggest keeping it like this because it does fold better. But what you're gonna do, and it's gonna make tiny little cuts, so you're not gonna worry about needing a score pen. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna select the whole thing, and then you're gonna make sure that you attach it. Right now they're just grouped, but you want to make sure that you're attaching it. And I'm gonna give you an example of why it's important to attach it. So when you go over here to make it, see, we didn't attach it on that white one, and now our score line is over there. But for our main base, right here, we attached it, and now our lines are in place. You don't need to do nothing else to them. So make sure, very, very important, that you put your score lines and you attach them things on there. Slap that thing on there like it's some, like you ashy, and you need some good old grease. You know, you're gonna rub it in real good. That's what you gotta look at. You know how you gonna get that grease in your skin because you're gonna make sure you don't not ashy. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. All right. So now we got that all together. Now we're gonna go through. You know, this is kind of like a basic thing. If you are a Design Space user, if you're new to Design Space, I'm still gonna walk through to show you how to do it. But right here, you can see I'm selecting all of these for the colors that I want, and I'm gonna get it as close to a gold as possible because this is my second layer. This is gonna be my accent sheet, if you will, to bring my colors together. I'm gonna use pink and gold as my colors for this, let's say. So all the parts that I want, I'm going to do it. And if it's multiple parts like so, you can select them all and then change them all at one time. It's the colors. That right there, that's your main base. You can keep pink, that's your check, that's your lip balm holder. You can keep it white or pink if you want the colors to be pink, gold, and white, or just pink and gold, because that, as I said, that's your main thing. So those are kind of like your accents, if you will. Uh, let's see, let's turn it back pink over here, but all our parts, those are going to be layers. Remember, these are layered, these are stacked upon each other. So you want your main focus to be, your main primary color is going to be on your first layer. Now I'm going to show you how to turn it to a print and cut. So see how I went and clicked, I take off a basic cut, I click on print and cut, and then I go in here and I click on pattern. These are already preset inside of Design Space. So I can go in there and I choose something. I say, okay, boom, let's do this. The colors are pink. Let's go do this. I want to make this the way my printing cut looks. But it's a little bit purple in there. So let me go in here and edit it. So when you go in there and you can scale your pattern like so, and then it'll give you more or less. Either way, more, it'll give it more defined, less. Then if I go in there and I can see I want to move it around a little bit or something like that, I can decide what I want. Then I can go vertical. If I want to move my design up a little bit more down, horizontal to the left or to the right, so be it so forth. If I want to rotate it a little bit, make it kind of slant or whatever, this is the way I can go in there and adjust my pattern, if you will. And the same thing, okay? And then if I change my mind, no, I don't want none of those, then I'll take it off of print and cut and I'll take it back to basic. It's always going to default it back to the original color. Then I'll go back and pick the color I want. Now, let's say I got my own design. I don't want to use Cricut. Okay, boom. So let's go grab this. Let's just say we blue. I'm just grabbing anything right now. You're going to make sure you take your picture or whatever you're using. You're going to put it over there, kind of bring it down, make sure it's not around. Because remember, when you're slicing, you're going to slice this. It's only grab two objects. So you're going to make sure it's just those two objects. You slice it, move it out the way, and there you go. Now, the only problem is when you slice it, make sure you slice it, because if you see right here, we can't go in and do those edits like we did on the pattern that was provided with Cricut. They greedy, they selfish like that. I don't understand why they so selfish like that. They need to let us do more like we want to. But anyhow, but so if anything, I would just adjust it right to where you would want the main focus or the main part to be, if this is what you want to use. As I said, you can also use a paper that's already printed, and I'll show you that later on in the video, some papers that I can do. Now, I'm jumping over here to Silhouette real quick to show you. When you open it up over here, that's it. You're just gonna open it, ungroup it. You're not gonna have to change no color. I mean, you're not gonna, have to change no measurements, no nothing. It's ready to go. Boom, you in there. You can change it to the colors. Now, if you're not very familiar with Silhouette Design Space and how you change the colors, over on there, if you see, you can see where the fill color is. You'll click down on that and you'll pick the color when you click down into that box and it gives you those different colors. For whatever reason, my video didn't capture the drop down box of it is showing all of that. But you would just click the drop down box and pick the color that you want. Or if you wanted to pick another color, you would get the color picker and then you would click on that to pick a color that you already have in there to pick up. Which is something that I really do like that Silhouette Studio does that Cricut still doesn't have. If you're a Photoshop user, then you understand. Or Canva, even with Canva, how you can go in and pick up a color. But for whatever reason, Design Space still haven't picked up on that to do that feature. They'll get there eventually. Probably when I'm old and gray. But anyhow, as you can see, that's what's in there. Now, same thing. If you want to have it more of a pattern and not a plain color and thing, you're gonna go and you're gonna click. It's not showing you guys on this video. Oh, that totally sucks. But over there, if you see that little pattern, that little paint palette thing that's highlighted over to the right, that's where you go in there. You can same thing like I showed you on Cricut. You can do that. The only difference is on here, you will go to where the little dots are and you will go down to where it says pan pattern. It's not showing you that panel. That really sucks. I got to figure that out. Okay. Sorry about that. But you can go in there and pan pattern. You can do this now. I was showing you also too how to, in a sense, slice and put your picture over here. It's still not showing you, but what I did is I went into file and pick the picture that we wanted to put, this Minnie Mouse picture. So it's almost the same thing. You want to make sure that you uh bring it down because that's kind of big. You want to make sure you size it down so it can be around the same thing. Then you're gonna, once you get to the measurement size that you want it to be, then you're gonna have it and then you're gonna select your uh the two items. Just those two. You'll select those. Then you'll go over to the little part where it has you'll see me highlight in just a second. Right there where it's highlighted, second one in blue. It's not showing you, but it's crop. It's going to say crop. You're going to click on it where it says crop. And then it'll put it in there. Then you'll go back into your paint palette, the pattern thing. Click on the pattern thing and then the pan pattern. And this one you can slide around. So that's the difference between Silhouette and Cricut when it comes to that. You can actually pan your pattern over there. Okay, we back in Design Space. Just want to show you that real quick. So now we got our colors together. We've selected the colors that we're going to use. Now we're going to go make it. And you'll see your different colors on your mat. You'll know how to do. You'll add if you make it a dozen, if you're making 3, if you're making 6, you'll put that in there and it'll tell you how many pages to cut. You'll put in your settings. Make sure that you cut, your paper according to whether it's a 65-pound heavy cardstock, glitter cardstock, metallic, whatever one you use. Just make sure you select it for those different sheets so it can cut it out correctly for you. All right, let's get ready to assemble this thing. Where did we kind of go there? Not talking. All right, so I'm showing you all my things. I'm showing you these blank lip balms. I keep want to say chapstick, lip balm, whatever. I get those from Amazon. I also have the link in there for you. I have the link for most of the things that if you ask, like Andrea's Creations, I'll link her in. I'll do that. Now I'm showing you right here. This is what I'm talking about as far as decorative sheets. It was $21.99 originally, but I got it at Hobby Lobby on sale for $5.74. And as you can see, it's just full of different decorative sheets. And I went on ahead and cut one out just to give y'all an example of where we can do that polka dot burgundy pattern there. We did that. But we cut everything out and now we're ready to go. I always start off with I didn't do it, I don't think I showed you guys on this video, but I always, before I start, especially after touching everything, I like to sanitize my hand with little hands. I keep hand sanitizer on deck, especially to like glue to get the glue off. So for me, we starting off with the pink, and that was a plain one. So I have a Cutterbug embossing machine. They have the big 6 one, the big 6, I think it's called. They even have an electric version. This was nicely gifted to me, and I got some file folders to go with it, and I try to pick the design and see which design I wanted to do. I'm gonna go ahead and emboss it, and I'm gonna show you how I emboss it. It gives these a nice little extra oomph, if you will, if you're not using a design pattern, if you just have a solid color. The only time I don't emboss is if my main top is going to be glitter because glitter already just looks so beautiful by itself. But if you can see, you make a little sandwich and then you get in there, and I call it like a spaghetti maker. That's what I look at it as. But I go in there and I get my parts and emboss it real quick. It's not this fast when you do a multiple, trust me. But just for this tutorial, this purposes of the tutorial of this video, it's real quick like that. So I go in there and I open it up, and now, see, oh, look at that. It didn't get all the way on there, but that's fine. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just go in here. I'm gonna line it up. I just line it up a little bit, line it up. It's not a big deal, and I can go back in and I can wind it up again. So as you can see me, I'm just lining it up to make sure that it doesn't look off, getting it back on there. And that's my bad right there. And I like the fact that you can see the mistakes because we make mistakes. And even when we do these tutorials, of course you want to see, or we want you guys to see the perfection, but it ain't always perfect. Sometimes we be in here screaming and pulling our hair out because I'm child, y'all only knew. Sometimes I be frustrated. Sometimes I just say, you know what? That means it's time for me to quit. It's time for me to stop for the day. And I just put everything away and go and watch something to make me happy. But anyhow, this is a minor fix right quick. So we just gonna go back in here and put our sandwich back together and wind it on in there. I like to keep a little bowl like that to keep my little small parts in too, to keep things intact. And I go forward and backwards because I just, in my mind, it just makes it better, but it really don't make a difference. But leave me in my mind alone, okay? This is what we gonna do. All right. So now we done fixed it. Got it together now. Got our little rose, little buds, or flower buds, or whatever you want to call them on there, little flower on there. And that's what we have. And we got it together. So now I'm showing you, we got that together. We got it embossed. That's going to be how we're going to layer it. On top of those, you're going to layer those, your gold. Remember I said metallic. You can either have gone with a glitter. Now right here, this glue, baby, got me in chokehold or glitter glue. I will link it to you. I love it. It dries clear. It dries good. It holds it good together. Now once it dry, baby, it dry. And there's different ones. Now I'm sure telling you that it's normally a little silver tap that comes on top of it, but then also with this refill when I got it gave me these little small ones, which I actually like these better than the little one that it comes with originally because they don't clog up like the other one. The other one be clogging up a lot, but I love it. So, and then look how it comes out. It's not overly, it's just enough, especially for those little small parts. So we're gonna go in there and you want to make sure the edges are very important because you want to make sure it adhere. So we're gonna get in there and make sure that we get the edge really good. And once we get on there, then we just slap that glue all around that thing. You know me, I'm gonna slap that glue all around that thing and just get it in there. And then that's what we're gonna do. Slap that glue all around that thing and I just gotta be. I'm surprised I ain't got my tweezers. Oh, here they go. See, I knew they were gonna make an appearance because that's what they do. I'm always making a guest appearance with my tweezers. So we got the tweezers, and I go in there, and I just this it's not hard at all, but you do need to be um take your time, especially if you are doing this, to provide this as a service to your customers. You want it to be the best. Or me and my tongue depressor, I go in there to make sure I get it on down. I like to have everything going down in there correctly. Look at little noodle right there. Want to give me a hard time, but I go in there and I press it down. As I said, it's not hard, but it is time consuming. It's a tedious process. So I suggest when you want to do these things, I'm telling you, make sure you do it, have the raised side up when you emboss it. But as I was saying, when you do these things, let's just make sure we take our time because this is your business, it's your product. If you don't got the patience for it at the moment, sit it to the side. I'm a true believer. When you're a crafter, this stuff like this is actually your happy space because it relaxes you, it calms you. If you're not a crafter and you ain't got the patience, then you're like, oh my God, this takes too long. Get somebody else to do it. And that's fine. Get me to do it. Or get one of you guys to do it. Because honey, I love it. I zone out and I get to it. So Yes, I might be moving a little bit slow, but I want to make sure that it's on there and it's precision and it's nice. That's what I want to make sure is happening, especially when I'm doing these and sending off to a customer. Last thing I want is for my customer to get it and it's falling all apart. It's lifted up on the sides. Child, then they be talking bad about you and be talking about they want a refund or mm, I done had some experiences with some stuff because a lot of people do forget this stuff is handmade. So anyhow, so right here I'm showing you with how you um, fold on the score lines. So just follow the score lines and the folds, and you'll see that's the main base. This is the lid down there. Those little holes. This is for your holder. So you want to pop those up. That part in the middle, it's a line there. You're gonna see it's a line. Now what's gonna happen is you're gonna fold those lines there on that side, on the outside, but then that middle part, you want it to pop up. And I'm gonna show you because that's what's gonna hold your chapstick. You're gonna put your chapstick in there and then it's gonna hold it. Or your lip balm. Whatever, child. The stuff. As my friend call it, the lip chap. So you see, now you see. Now you're just gonna line it up with the slit. You're gonna have your slits line up and make sure it's lined up as best you can. Now, this is the way I do it. If you find a better method for yourself, please, or by all means. But I tend to hold it right there, and then I'll go ahead and I'll glue the middle part down and get that in place. Do not glue that slit in the middle that we popped up. You don't want to glue that because you need that to pop up, remember? So glue on the outsides of that and then on the ends and leave that part dry because you don't want any glue in that. You need that to sit up, remember? So then I get in there and I just, again, like a tortoise, very slowly but steadily, I get in there and I make sure that it's stayed on there and that it's in there. And then now I'm going to, now see, I want to make sure that showing you how you want the middle to stay up. You want that. So now we're going to glue those down. We got our middle together and it's steady. Now we can go in there and stop that glue around that thing and get it in there so we can stick it down. But the key to this one also is the edges. Make sure you get that glue on those edges. You want to just lay it down, that precisely, go in there. And I use this. You can use like a little scraper, that you mostly have, but I just like the tongue depressor. That's just my PP, as you all know. And that to me, it's not even that it does to me. It actually does adhere your and secure your things down a little bit faster and better. So see, we got it on there. We secured it on down. And now our main base and our chapstick holder are together. You want to make sure that it's folded really good because this is supposed to stand up alone. So we want to make sure it has a nice little crease, and then you see you put that down in that slit. But you want to make sure that it can see how it's standing up on its own. It's not laying down, it's sitting up. That's what you want. And we're just going to repeat the steps right here again with the pattern one. Because remember, we're making two different ones. I just want to show you two different looks. It's the same thing. We're just going to repeat that. All right, now we then got our parts all glued together and ready to go for our thing. So now we are adding it together to give our final look. We're going to add our first and second layers to our main base, as I call it, and our chap lip balm holder that's glued together. These are all the parts that you see me getting them together to go with it, the bow and everything. So you don't have to do it particularly in this order, but this is just the order I do. I'm gonna get the gold, the bigger one, and it's gonna go right here on, I call it the lip. You're gonna put it right here. Make sure you got, enough glue. See, I got my handy dandy tweezers because I love them so. And just go ahead and glue that part on the lip of it right there. I take the tweezers and I kind of just squeeze it together, um, just to make sure that it adheres and get to it on this one. And then I'm gonna do the same thing now with my first layer. Remember, I call them first and second layer. Excuse me for being out of the frame a little bit when I transition to the video. It does that. Yeah, I don't need to know all that technical stuff. I just be saying stuff sometimes. Anyhow, so basically, you see it coming together. Now, this is your layers coming together on your lip. That's what you're gonna do. And then the same thing, you're just gonna follow the guidelines on how you see on here. So with your main base, you see the slit, you're gonna glue it on your don't put that glue. That little thing be getting on my nerves. I love it because it keeps the nozzle from clogging up and drying out because you put, but it's been away, child. I really need to get to it. But again, make sure you get some glue on those edges real good, and then you just slap that glue right around the middle of that thing. Um, the other thing too, when you use when I use like my tongue depressor, or if you use your thing, you know that when you push it down with the tongue, it kind of spreads the glue, so that also help the glue to adhere too, because it makes the glue, instead of how it's in those little spots. Because sometimes I'll dot it, or sometimes I'll just scribble it around like you see me doing. But right now, what you see me doing right here is I'm going in with the edge of the thing, and I'm just kind of on my gold layer, or my second layer, if you will. I'm going in, I'm just sliding down on the edge, going down to make sure it adheres really good. Because, as I said, the side, you don't want the sides coming up. So we just want to make sure that's in there really good, and I go in there. See, I see a little bit sticking up right there, so I'm gonna add a little bit more glue because I just want to make sure I don't want nothing coming up. So we just go in there, and I'm just going in there with my edges really steadily. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here with this one. Just adding it, putting it around in there. And doing the same thing. I'm just gonna go in with my edge of my what's this thing called? I want to call it a nail file right now. And I know that's not right. Tongue depressor. Popsicle stick, tongue depressor. Those are actually, I believe, tongue depressors, but so you're just gonna go in there, and as I said, we're gonna make sure we get all around in there. I'll be concentrating, child. Make sure I get it all. And everybody's in there secure. And see, now you can put it together, and then you're gonna take it and you're gonna slip that tongue that I call in there. Now we're gonna put our bow right there. So with the bow, what I do is I have a box full of goodies, what I call them, and I have different embellishments um for this particular one. So those are too big. I just, just showing you different ones. Um and I didn't like the way that looked on there. I thought that looked kind of cheesy, McNeasy. So I said, well, let me try this one with the little pearl and the gold on there. Okay, that might work. So we're gonna try that one and put that one on there and see how we feel about it. I got all of those different embellishments actually off of Amazon. Now, what you see me right here using, it's the Beacon 3-in-1 glue. And it gets stringy like hot glue, but it holds almost like the E6, what's that, the E6000 or E3000 glue. It has that hold, but it doesn't have a long as a cure time, because that glue, when you're doing rhinestones and stuff with that glue, it has a long cure time on that one. So this one doesn't, it's not as fast as the other one, but for jewels and stuff like that, I like to use it because it has that hold. Um, it may take about 30 minutes or so to cure completely, but uh, and for the most part, I like it. And I get that one from Michael's. It wants to be about 11 bucks, 11, 12 bucks or something like that for that small bottle, but it goes a long way. It lasts a long time. So I do like that, but it does get stringy. High glue, oh yeah, child, to get stringy. So you got to be careful with that. And then as you see, I'm going back in there and on the back of the bow, I'm putting that, and I'm just going to put it right there. You're just going to hold it down for a second to make sure it sticks. And and everything. And then that is completely, I'm getting some hand sanitizer. You can't see me, but I know that's what I'm doing. And I'm just getting a little bit of glue right there. I'm getting off on the metallic because that happened. And you see, you open it up, and then you put your chapstick in there. And normally I put, just for the purposes, I was just showing how to do a tutorial video on how to assemble this and everything. But normally on the chapstick, it would be a customized label to go with it. And I'll also put like a thank you note or thank you message on the inside. And I can do another video showing how to do that. But I wanted to get this one up, at least showing the main steps on how to do that. That's it. I got to push it down a little bit because remember, we wanted to stand up. So we're doing that. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm not going to talk y'all ear off through that one because basically, but y'all can see me go through steps again. And we just finally made it to the final looks. This is what it looks like with a pre-printed sheet or pre-decorative sheet, whatever you want to call it. And then, we have our one with our emboss sheets. I hope that I was clear, concise. If not, drop it in the comments below. Say, girl, clear it up. I need a little bit more help. Let me know. And happy crafting. Sincerely. Pretty.